Thank you everybody for coming. Welcome to the Freethought Initiative. I'd like to invite you all again to join the fam. I don't know where the logo is, it's back there. Come and join the fam. We're really gratified to see any faces here at all. We've been working on this hot and heavy for a few months now. The weather's getting nicer, everybody had something else to do, it might have been more fun, so we really appreciate the effort that everybody made to even just be here, the people who helped, the people behind the scenes who aren't necessarily taking any credit, but everybody who helped put this thing together, we're really thankful, so welcome. As far as we know, it's the first event of its kind, and when I say that, it's qualifiable, obviously. This being where it is in Milwaukee, it's a real conservative area, those of you who know. It's a shock to me because I came from the East Coast where you trip over effete liberalists in every corner. And to come out as an atheist was boring in the 70s, and people were like, what? All right. I get here and I find people who are really oppressed. And so, the whole idea for FAM was to create an umbrella where different fringe groups who are skeptics and non-believers can have a platform where the rest of us can help certain members of the group put on their shows, sponsor programs, any kind of event that anybody might have in mind, just to help grow a profile. The idea is not for FAM to really take a position or be an organization of its own. It's an alliance of all, hopefully of all the non-believing groups, the skeptical groups, the humanist groups, the secularists, whatever you want to call it. That's where we're at for this. This is the brainchild of 3 local groups. I want to give a shout out to Mythicist Milwaukee. Sean and Fritz, our new friends, have been tireless in their efforts on their own behalf, promoting Mythicist Milwaukee, but also being involved in Swift and instrumental in the beginnings of FAM. These guys are doers. They're on the cutting edge of whatever's going to happen with this movement, and I'm the one who feels that it is a movement very strongly, and I'm going to be pushing for it to be an effective movement that gets things done. So, Mythicist Milwaukee is the first of our unholy trinity. Just a shout out to Mythicist Milwaukee. None of it would have happened if it wasn't for them, honestly. Swift is the oldest and probably the biggest in the area. They have the most profile, most public profile. When I started looking for atheist groups, they were the only one I could even find. So they really have a little more pulling power as far as a public profile, people to pull from. So Vada and Karl from Swift have been also instrumental in getting this together. So let's hear it for Swift one time. Southeast Wisconsin Freethinkers. And my own group, KRAFt, which I'm a co-founder, and it's just getting started. In fact, we're so new that we have more deeds than people at this point. We were founded as more of a group that goes out and does a little bit more, and I don't want to use the word activism, but a little bit more community involvement. What we found right away was that there are groups out there, and most of them, people want to get together and just talk and have people that think alike so that they don't feel isolated, and I get that. But in the end, I'm a person who wants to get things done, so KRAFt was founded on that idea, and we'll talk more about that later when we get into our individual presentations. So those are the 3 groups who are behind FAM to begin with. We invite everyone to come join the FAM. If you are a local group, and you're going to hear from some of the ones that are here to speak, other ones have tables set up. There's something for everyone. Please feel free to get information, like the fan page, join it, come to us with ideas, and we will help you promote your own group as these things go forward. Again, the goal of FAM is to raise awareness and acceptance. Atheists, agnostics, non-believers, skeptics, as I'm learning every day, have different degrees of prejudice, really, and stereotyping and bigotry that goes along with being an atheist. And I never really felt that much, except from my mom, who loves me, but is convinced I'm going to go to hell. That's I don't really care what she thinks that much like that. So I have a hard time identifying with people who really feel alone, and their whole family, really disowns them, or their community doesn't want to talk to them, or they don't feel they get picked on in school and church because they're forced to go to church because they just can't say no. They have to go along. The first goal of FAM is to raise community awareness. There are atheists out there; they're all around you. They're good people. They don't eat babies. They don't worship Satan. It's ridiculous ideas that go on. The word atheist, which again, I never dawned on me that that was a bad word, but apparently it is. It doesn't have to be, all right? The fact that there are all these groups and that all these people are here are evidence of the fact that you aren't alone. So we're here to raise awareness and acceptance for non-believers in the community. We're also here to give back to the community. All right. There's part of what brought me to the movement was you don't go to church, you don't have the Sunday social, but you also don't have the missionary work that make people feel like they're contributing, or a soup kitchen, or whatever it is, a clothes drive or food drive for people. In fact, there's evidence that atheists have been turned away. A guy who was a known non-believer wants to help a church group. And the church group has said, well, you don't really fit with our philosophy, so we don't even want your help. How ridiculous is that? And of course, that's not everybody. There are progressive religions out there, as odd as it sounds. But anyway, part of what we're here to do is to organize events that give back. The highway cleanups, I can't even think. There's a ton of different ways. Fundraising for science education. Any ways at all that we can give back to the community where we all live, just like everybody wants to and should. And thirdly, and most importantly to me, I want to be able to build solidarity and move forward on common goals. As everyone knows, a huge problem is the old herd of cats thing. Once we're all atheists, none of us really agree on much else besides that. Everyone's got their own idea, and it leads to apathy, and you stay at home and I could go do that, but that guy's he's a conservative atheist and I'm a liberal. No, we need to get together. We need to get together like the women did before us. We need to get together like the blacks did after them. The civil rights movement. We need to get together like the gays did more recently. And gain solidarity and push forward on common issues so that we can change society for the better. Otherwise, it's great to sit around and talk about it, but what really happens? You leave your meetup group and you're back in the same crap again. And you've got violations of separation of church and state everywhere you look. And the Christian right is overrepresented in the government, and those who are in government are pandering to those people, even if they aren't religious themselves. We need to hold politicians accountable. We need to ask them, what is your belief system? If I elect you, am I going to expect that you base decisions on prayer, on magic, on mythology? I want the smartest guy or girl in office. I don't want an idiot, a mythologist, and a weirdo, and somebody who believes in magic things that don't exist. I want us to be able to be 16% and say, look at us. If you talk that crap to the Christian right, you're not going to get one vote, because we don't want less than the most intelligent people involved in government. I don't. So if you're okay with America getting stupider, then by all means, go back and go to your meetup group and sit on your couch and talk about philosophy and what might happen when we die. For now, we're here. Let's make this place better. All right? So those are FAM's 3 goals. The reasons for doing this are many. The diversity is out there. This is what I didn't realize when I started looking for just an atheist group. And I only could find Swift. So I joined Swift and did everything I could to be involved in Swift. And as I started getting into it, you start seeing that there's a million groups out there. We're happy to have the American Humanist Association with us today. They've got some real profile nationally. Everyone knows there's the Freedom from Religion Foundation. There's American Atheists. There's the Secular Coalition of America. There's a Coalition of Reason. There's a lot of American Atheists. There's lots of national groups. They're all too busy. They're all doing their thing somewhere else. So what do we have right here? All right, let's do something locally. Let's get them all together. Let's find out how many there are. I can go down the list. There's the Trinity I already mentioned. There's the Mythicists of Milwaukee, who look at it as an educational tool in a comparative religion kind of way, exposing the mythological origins of everything that people believe today is real, like it actually happened, and instead of appreciating the metaphor for what it was, which was actually pretty forward-thinking for post-cave people to be able to write these stories in order to empower their society. It doesn't mean it's real. None of it. All right? So these guys have built, in my eyes, in a million ways. There's a Black Skeptics group in Milwaukee. They've got like 28 members on Facebook. Sean and I are among those members. Hillary is her name, and she's reached out. We reached out to them. We wish they were here. She didn't quite have the time, and I'm going to promote their group. Those are the kind of groups that we need to get bigger to help us, to help all of us. So Sean and I are actually black skeptics, odd as that seems. We're not black skeptics, but we're black skeptics. And we're here to help that group, if they come to us, put on an event. Get more people who are afraid to come out of their families and join an atheist group. More people that think like you are and are like you are. It's much more easy to build solidarity that way. The Sunday Assembly is here. They're just getting started in Milwaukee. Very exciting. They've got a history. They've got a real following already. It's an established group. We're going to hear what they have to say. The Secular Student Alliance from Whitewater is here. Joe made it. Fabulous. They've already had him and Meta speak at their university. Really, really, really great thing that they did. Students are one of my big focuses. We need the young people to stay involved and stay passionate. We all get more apathetic as we get older. It gets easy to be like, whatever. We need the youth of America to give a crap and not just marry someone who goes to church and say, I'll have to go to church and I'll sit there because that's what she wants. No, bullshit. No more. Skeptics in the pub. This is a great idea. Our buddy Eric, who's a SWIFT member, thank you, Eric, has a group and they meet in the pub and they talk over a drink, you know. How different is that? All the meetup groups that, you know, it's all about coffee in the morning, dark bar, and a little bohemian atmosphere, and a drink, and you know, and talk about something that you might do to better your neighborhood, or just to meet people who aren't imbeciles. It's so hard for all of us. And the big groups too, I mentioned. I'm sure there's a gay alliance somewhere that are gay atheists, right? Let's find them. Let's get them to join the fam. All right, let's get them all on board. Everybody we can find. We don't have to agree on a lot, but the things that we can find to agree on, let's use those things and move us all forward. Every organization is subject to the prejudice that I'm talking about too. This is another reason to do this. We're the least trusted minority. Unbelievably, in America, we're less trusted than Muslims in this country. But there it is, atheists, people who don't believe in something. And how often do you hear that, right? You go to somebody's house and they say a prayer, and, and then you get in a discussion, and you're like, well, you don't have to believe what I have, but don't you just have to believe something? Who's heard that shit? Just believe something. You know why that is? Because you not believing something threatens their entire worldview. They'd rather have you be a Muslim and a jihadist, because you saying that there is no God threatens everything that they believe. The fact that your God's basically the same and has a little different book and different rules, they can get past that. But you suggesting that their whole reason for living, philosophizing, or whatever is completely wrong is really, really threatening. Really threatening. So we're the least trusted. And because of that, we're the least represented. And I alluded to it before. You think that people in Congress are Christians? You think that elected leaders in this country are Christians, coke-sniffing, womanizing, creeps and criminals and underhanded fools? Very few of them are actually Christians, and we can debate about what it means to be a Christian, and we act like a Christian, but these people are pandering to the right. They're
Christians one day a week.
Yeah, that's right. They're Christians when the photos are there, and the journalists are there to see you walking into church. They don't give a crap. They want to make sure that the people who vote think that they're Christianly. We all know that they're not. And the few that are, great. You know, I'd love to meet more actual Christians. Those are nice people. It's just damn few and far between. So we're the least represented among. We all know. I've seen the stats. It's ridiculous. Christians are overrepresented. Men are ridiculously overrepresented. Jews are very well overrepresented in Congress. Muslims are underrepresented. Women are underrepresented. Blacks are underrepresented. Atheists are ridiculously underrepresented. So it's not truly a government by the people, of the people, or for the people. All right? We need to be represented. We need more out atheists in government. All right? So these are the needs for this organization. Every different organization plays a part in this. We can't do it all at once because of the herding cast thing. Some of us are conservatives and some of us are liberal. On a national stage, we know there's the Bill Maher's out there that are fairly liberal. Not completely, but fairly liberal, and atheists do tend to be liberal, especially socially. But there are conservative atheists. Penn Jillette is a great example. A very, very conservative guy, Republican, fiscally conservative. He's an atheist. We need both kinds that push on both ends. There's the angry and the friendly thing, the aggressive and the passive thing. And I shout out to our friend Hitch, who's gone now, but was an aggressive atheist. He was kind of a button pusher and a provocateur, so to speak. And then you've got the friendly atheists like him and Meta, who believe that you're going to capture more flies with honey, which is a great point. But who also concedes that you need both sides, good cop, bad cop. You know, you kind of poke them and then cajole them. Poke them, cajole them. Excuse me. Every special interest group has its own atheist component. Like I alluded to before, the minorities, or there's going to be minorities who are religious and minorities who are secular. The women. Women are pretty strong on the religious side, but there's women who are atheists too. There's bound to be gays who want a church, and then there's gay people who want to be atheists too. So every minority out there also has kind of a sub-minority, an atheist sector. So each one of those organizations could rightly start their own atheist group, which could then fall under the FAM umbrella and have our help in pushing their agenda forward. This is a good way to just discover what's out there too. I mean, there's a bassoon playing soccer, professional soccer athlete who's a Mensa member, and they want the bassoon playing soccer Mensa atheist club. You know, let them go. Everybody should start their own in their local community, if there isn't one. That's a grassroots movement. We all find out about each other. We all get together when we need to. We can impress a little power on the national scene. And all the events, all the organizations will help support one another. That's the FAM idea, okay? It doesn't matter if we don't really agree necessarily exactly with what you are doing. If you want to use FAM to promote an event and it isn't counter to the FAM ideals, which we'll get to again a little bit later, then there's no reason that we can't help you throw an event like this one. In fact, this event is partially here to choose the next event. That's going to be the big deal by the end of this today. And again, FAM only facilitates. FAM's not going to support its own ideas and promote its own ideas. It's just a platform for all of you to do your thing. All right? This event is evidence. It arose organically. We're all here doing it. Proof that it's a good thing. Unique ideas and mashups could come from this. The different groups can work together. The blacks and the Latins maybe throw a Caribbean night, you know, and see the mashup that's there. I'm personally a Northern European American. It would be nice to see the Mythicists work with KRAFt on a Norse mythology themed item. But the ideas are endless, so we hope to really mine some good ideas and find out what people are missing in this community. So we're here to learn about each other. We're here to brainstorm ideas. We're here to identify common problems. And we're here to identify common goals today. So I hope everybody participates. Coming up after this is speeches by 5 different groups. We're going to take 10 minutes each to kind of represent what they are all about to us. And after that, we're going to split up into, we're going to take a little break, 15 minutes, after we hear from 5 different speakers. And then we're going to break them into small groups. And the small groups are going to go into these little rooms we have set up, and we're going to brainstorm, write down ideas, vote for the best ideas at the end. Hopefully we have some fun doing that, presenting people's different ideas and choosing 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 for the next events for FAM going forward. That's about all I have.
Right. Participation is voluntary.
Yeah, after the speakers, I'll sort of wrap it up in a summary that's real quick. At that point, when we have a break, if there are people here who don't want to be involved in a group session like that or don't feel comfortable, that'll be your chance to bow out. You'll have heard the speakers, hopefully learn something, and no one is under any pressure to be involved in the small group activities. We hope everybody does. We know you'll have great ideas. The fact that you're here is really, really gratifying. And without any further ado, I'm going to introduce Howard Katz.
I got a question. Just real quick, I have to leave at 1, and I really don't want to. I'm so happy to see all you people. I've never been among a group like this before.
That's awesome.
Is there going to be a nice follow-up to this in some way, that whatever ideas come out of whatever sessions you have today, that you can somehow get out to us.
Are you
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll put it on our Freethought Alliance of Milwaukee
We're gonna put
Facebook
it-
page.
We're gonna put it there, and then also if you sign up for the email list, we'll email future events out to everyone.
Perfect. I'm not leaving today because I'm disinterested. I just.
We're really happy to have you here.
Today.
I'm gonna take it
Yeah.
No, and I invite you to grab a piece of paper and to jot down.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah, leave your ideas with one of us so that, but yes, going forward, like the Facebook page. KRAFt has a Facebook page, Swift has a Facebook page, Mythicist Milwaukee has one, and FAM has one. We share all the events going forward. The idea here is to choose something to do next. Ready? All right. If that's it, there'll be more time for questions after. I'm going to let Howard get on with it. Everybody, Howard Katz from the American Humanist Association.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see all you jihadists here, by the way. First of all, my name is Howard Katz, and I hate being herded. So that phrase were dropped. I am currently serving on the board of directors for the American Humanist Association, and I am the past president of that organization that was just on the screen, the Humanist Society. The Humanist Society, just as a side, is the adjunct within the AHA that certifies celebrants to have equal standing to do life ceremonies such as marriages. So our people are legally able to do ceremonies in all 50 states, something that instant ordination type of services aren't allowed to do in a lot of jurisdictions. First question I always ask is, how many people here are members of the American Humanist Association? I usually get at least one hand. Oh, I do get, okay, I was going to say at least one hand. Thanks, Drew. Good to know.
Way to represent.
Yeah, appreciate it. Let me explain first a little bit what humanism is, and I don't have it memorized verbatim, so I always read it. Humanism is a progressive philosophy of life that, without theism or other supernatural beliefs, affirms our ability and responsibility to lead ethical lives of personal fulfillment that aspire to the greater good of humanity. We have then a progressive, positive, non-theistic philosophy and ethics that we follow to promote humanity. Basically, our viewpoint is everything that humanity has ever aspired to, developed as a philosophy, or come up with, we've done it on our own. We as human beings are the ones that have promoted humanity, and this is what we need to do. Now, I'm going to just take a couple minutes out to talk about a couple of the things that the AHA has been involved with. Our conference is coming up. If any of you want to get to Philadelphia next month, it should be a good time. The Humanist Society, you see there's secular invocations. I'm sure everybody here is quite well aware of the little minor decision that the Supreme Court made 2 weeks ago, Galloway versus Greece. Basically, the 5 very religious Supreme Court justices decided that, it's okay to give religious prayers in front of a government body. What harm can there be in it? If, as Justice Kennedy said, if you don't like the prayer, just walk out and leave the room until it's over. Okay, fine. I really don't like being a second-class citizen, but if that's what Justice Kennedy thinks is the way to go, sure, we'll work on it. Part of what the decision said, however, is that the governmental body has to be open to allowing invocations by any valid group within the community. That's where we come in. We are developing a basically handbook of secular invocations. Invocations that can be given by anybody extolling humanity. It's not a new idea. I actually did one back when I graduated high school. You know, we still had electricity back then, but you know, there was actually, and I did an invocation that was basically, let's go out and do good, you know, people. And there were complaints written to the newspaper that it wasn't a religious invocation.
No.
Oh yeah, yeah. And this is just back in the 70s. We're not talking that terribly long ago, but that mindset still exists today. So we are promoting the idea, and if anybody who wants to do it, you know, you don't have to have standing as clergy to do an invocation. Anybody, somebody from Swift, for example, could, or KRAFt could easily promote themselves as a valid civic organization, come forward and do an invocation. We've got the invocations. So that's one of the things we're doing. The other things we're doing is we've had two cases, one which was just recently decided, trying to reverse a congressional decision made in 1954. Everyone happen to know what they added in 1954? No, just under God.
Yeah.
Under God.
Well, they did the In God We Trust, you're right, but what we're going for is the pledge. Because, the Pledge of Allegiance, because if nothing else, every student in America stands up at some point during the day and does the pledge. At least they used to. I don't know if a lot of high schools. Elementary schools? Some high schools still do it too.
You can opt out now, but good luck not getting beat up at recess.
Well, one of the things you can do, I'm involved with township level government. I'm from the Chicago area, by the way, guys. So all of you who are getting involved with FAM may see me a couple times a year, but 2.5-hour drive just to come up here. I like you guys, but that's a haul.
We know how you feel.
Why?
Because we drive all the way to Chicago for a lot of stuff all the time.
Well, then call me up. We get together for lunch.
You bet.
I was doing 80 miles an hour up the highway and still took me 2.5 hours.
Southside.
Oh, well, yeah, you're right there on the freeway. I'm out in Batavia.
Oh, that's not Chicago.
Thank you.
That's 2.5.
No, the drop off from the Chicago line is a half mile west of my house. Okay. Anyways, we've had two cases that we are working on to get rid of the under God portion of the Pledge of Allegiance. The thought process was that we're not going to get it done through the federal government. We've had a few federal court cases that have basically thrown out our cases, either because of saying that people didn't have standing or whatever, other reasons they came up with. So we've decided to attach the cases to state constitutional cases, because that's where you have sometimes stronger wording when it comes to equal protection under the law. Our first case that we just actually lost was in Massachusetts. We had that going for almost 2 years. The court dragged its heels on making a decision. They just about 3 weeks ago, I believe, came up with the decision no, it doesn't cause any harm to non-believers to have that in the pledge. And by the way, I was going to say, in township government, when I do the pledge, I just stand very quiet when those two words are mentioned. And gratifyingly, there's several other people in the room who are nominally hardcore right-wing Republicans do the same thing. So I think our message at least is getting through to some people.
It's funny when you think about how would the rest of the people react if it was under Allah or
or Buddha,
under
or
the devil, or
Zoroaster,
whatever,
under
They would have a
Satan would go
raging
over real
fit.
well, wouldn't it?
I just say the Pledge of Allegiance real loud,
Yeah.
and I'm real quiet during that time, so it's very noticeable when I don't say it.
I actually
I'm
had
doing the
one real religious born-again type when I was standing next to him and he didn't hear those words from me. His head snapped around so fast, I'm surprised he didn't need a chiropractor afterwards. So, our other case that we think we are going to be able to win on, because the way that it was presented and the way the court's questions went, is we're also trying it in New Jersey. And believe it or not, even though Chris Christie makes a big noise for New Jersey, it's a very progressive state overall. So as long as you don't have to drive on bridges, you're going to do okay. But we do think that we have a pretty good standard going there, and we should be able to do something with that case. Now, granted, we're not going to be able to have all 50 states, get in on this, but if we can get it to start to snowball, we should be able to at least get some recognition for the fact of non-theism as valid a viewpoint as any religious person's. So I think my 10 minutes is about up. So if anybody wants any information about the AHA, if you're interested in joining, if anybody's interested in helping start a chapter, because we do have one up in Milwaukee, we've got information at the back table.
You can take questions.
Oh,
A couple
okay.
questions if anyone has one.
The answer is 42, and we can go on from there. Oh, good, a few people.
No, never
Yes,
mind
sir.
then. Never mind then.
Yes, sir.
What is 6 times 9?
That's also the life of the universe and everything, so, but don't panic.
You have one in the back?
I have a
there?
question.
Yes, sir.
So, in order for people to join AHA, what is the easiest way?
AHA, not AHA.
Sorry, AHA.
The easiest way would be to pick up one of the brochures that I have on the back table that's got information on there, or go to the website, AmericanHumanist.org, and there's a way of joining if you prefer doing electronically.
Same way of starting a chapter.
Starting a chapter is a little bit different. I can give you, if anybody's interested, these gentlemen have my email address, get in touch with me. It's really strange that the requirement is so simple and so hard to get a chapter going. All we need are 5 AHA members in a location to start a chapter. I can't even get 5 people down in the Chicago main area to agree on getting together for lunch just to discuss.
No.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I understand. So if anyone is interested in helping form a chapter, let me know. I am part of one of my duties is chapter development on the national board. So yes, George.
Yeah, Howard, could you just say something briefly about the manifesto?
The Humanist Manifesto?
The Humanist Manifesto.
Okay,
Its
well,
inception and of course its updating and
Right,
why it's so important a document in terms of uniting.
And I've actually got some pocket versions of it. It's slightly shortened on the table. The full manifesto is a little bit longer. The Humanist Manifesto was, well, actually, humanism predates, or the idea of humanism predates the founding of the United States. I mean, it goes back to a lot of, for example, Greek and French philosophers. So it's not a new idea. Humanism basically got started in America the late 1800s, early 1900s. A group of people actually at the University of Chicago 73 years ago got together and formed the American Humanist Association, and they wrote what was the Humanist Manifesto, which part of what I read to you today is part of the document itself. We are on Humanist Manifesto 3. The first manifesto had a lot of what I would call religious language in it. It actually posed itself more as a secular religion more than an ethical philosophy. We still have people today who think it's more of a naturalistic religion and still find it as a religion more comfortable. There's a lot of people, and you're all going to run across it, and I know I'm going over by 10 minutes, I'm sorry about this, who were very religious at one point. I mean, you were mentioning you come from a religious family, and you've escaped. I mean, I was the same way.
Nah, I'm halfway.
Okay, well, you're
I'm being pulled
you're
back
escaping.
in. Yes,
okay.
thank
you. You see where the exit is.
Right.
I mean, I was the same way. When I was here, was it January? Was I here?
February, maybe?
Okay. I told a story, and it's true. Like, my father was an extremely religious man, and I never told him about my involvement, including getting elected to the national board of the AHA, because there's certain things you just don't need fights over. And my father walks in. I'm at his place in Indiana for Thanksgiving, and my other brother is sitting there, and I'm reading the newspaper, and my father walks in and goes, I'd be awfully upset if any of my children didn't follow me in the religion in which I raised them.
Oh dear.
I just kept reading the newspaper because I was like, not going to get into it. He stood there for a few minutes, and my other brother, who his partner is evangelical, actually, didn't say a word either. Just kept on going with what we were doing at that point. So, but the problem is that where I was going with that. The problem is that you do have to interface with the other people in your communities, and we have people who are who were religious, are no longer believe. I mean, like, we work together with a group called the Clergy Project, which is a group of ministers, priests, rabbis, etc.
Isn't that Dan Barker?
No, Dan Barker's FFRF.
That's Richard Dawkins.
Richard Dawkins Foundation is part of the group. There's a couple people, one of them is a woman up in Canada, actually, Ontario, who was involved with it.
Dan Dennis, I think,
Yeah, but that Freedom from Religion Foundation is Dan Barker's organization.
Oh, I thought he also was working for
I
clergy.
don't think he's doing
I could be
much.
wrong.
I don't know.
He is a former clergyman.
Oh yeah, he's a former clergyman, but I don't think he's actively involved as far as working with the ex-clergy in the Clergy
I don't know, I
Project.
can't.
So,
I don't know.
well,
I'm
from what I
sorry.
know of Dan, but be that as it may, there's a lot of people who use humanism as a substitute for something they feel they're missing. The Sunday Assembly. I'm not going to say that all these people are there because they miss religion. They do miss community. And
Yeah, we've talked about that.
yeah, very valid. Very, it's a good idea. There's a lot of us though who don't need that community, but do believe there has to be an ethics and a philosophy for humans to follow. Which is why I find myself very strongly attracted to and working with the American Humanist Association. Can you guys tell I was a speech communications teacher?
Yes.
Yeah, I speech good. But yeah, but that's basically the idea of humanism in a nutshell. And we could always talk afterwards.
Yeah, please,
Sorry,
feel free to
Rob.
hit, that's all right.
I have
Howard
a
likes to
quick
talk.
question
Yes, ma'am.
for you. Have you gotten any members that are religious? I mean, like some of the not mainstream, like say Unitarians or Buddhists or
Well,
Taoists or-
Unitarians,
Not really
probably
religious.
75 to 80% of all AHA members are UUs. So that's not a part of it. But except for the last 5 years, most UU congregations were non-theistic. There seems to be a trend in the UU
Oh,
church back towards theism.
Oh, really?
I haven't
Oh,
gone
yeah.
to Unitarian church.
See, I went till through 8th grade. I was attended Unitarian.
Okay.
Oh, me too.
Did
Like
you?
pretty much until I was in middle school,
Yeah.
high
All
school.
right, we're gonna have to move it
Sorry.
along.
I've been told my time is up.
Yeah, that's all right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Howard, good stuff, really good stuff. Howard can talk, so just talk to him afterwards and you can get as much as you want out of him. I always like having Howard come because it means I'm not the shortest guy in the room. Appreciate it, buddy. Good stuff, really good stuff. I'm gonna give the KRAFt presentation,
You're up.
and we'll make it,
Fix the table.
I'm not getting it, man. Are you up? No. Oh, man. KRAFt began as one atheist looking for other atheists. It stands for a lot of things. Originally it was Kenosha rationalists, atheists, and freethinkers. It was immediately pointed out to me that atheist is like saying the MF word or something. I don't know. So it was backed off to Kenosha rationalists, agnostics, and freethinkers, which was fine. We decided to include Racine, so it became Kenosha Racine area freethinkers. To me, I might change it to Kenosha radical atheists fighting theocracy. That's what I want to be. All right, but we need to attract people. We need to piss people off, even friends. Knowledge, reason, atheism, freedom, and truth. Right? How about that? I have fun with the acronym, but
You can make a list on there.
right. So one atheist in southeast Wisconsin, in Kenosha, discovered on the internet an organization called Southeast Wisconsin Freethinkers. And it seemed to be the only Milwaukee area group that I could find at the time. So,
Or the
I
only
started going-
southeast Wisconsin.
right, in all of southeast Wisconsin. So I started going to the meetings. The meetings were satisfying. And it was on the suggestion of then Swift co-director Kurt Boxenbaum that if you feel a need, then and you're missing something, then start your own group in your own area. I was driving, which I didn't mind. I'm from the country. I had to drive half an hour to the grocery store, but it's 40 minutes, and it's a commitment to come up once a month to join a group. So when Kurt told me that, I said, I've been wanting to do that anyway, and it's what led me to find this group. So I realized that there were a couple of other Kenosha people that made that drive all the way up there. And so right away we decided to meet and get together and start a Kenosha group, and so we did. So the first few Kenosha atheists started meeting in early 2014, and that was really the beginning. When atheists are looking to get together, it's for a sense of community, for people who think like you do, are going to make fun of you for things that we should be making fun of them for, believing in sky daddies and all kinds of woo and weird crap. So yes, KRAFt is a place where freethinkers can come and be themselves. I love the picture of the baby. We're all born atheists.
Yeah, exactly.
Part of what led me to this, I have 2 kids, and I have 3 kids, and my older girl, I kind of raised her as an atheist, doing what religious people do to their kids, kind of indoctrinating her to that, and she was she's a stone cold atheist, man, just like the Christian kids are. And I thought about it, and I'm like, is that really right for her? Let me do an experiment, and I get 2 little kids. And I want them to to find out on their own and see how long they can go without any God concept. They were 4 and 5 last year, and I asked them, I said, do you guys know what God is at one point? And my older boy said, he's 5, he says, well, I hear people say, oh my God. It was the only reference he had. He had no idea. I pushed on, he had no idea. Not 2 weeks later, he comes home from school, he's singing a prayer that he learned in music class at public school in Kenosha. When I was growing up in Wisconsin, was a liberal state as far as education, one of the best education systems in the country, and I'm afraid that's just gone. You can look to New England, and it's not even as good there anymore. Anyway, the old atheists, right? Would stay quiet, we're not talking, don't bring it up, we'll go to church, we'll sit there quietly. It's changing now. Atheists don't want to stay quiet, we want to talk. And even if we only want to talk, we at least want to have people to talk to each other. So, we have a meetup group, all right? And this seems to be the most common way that groups like this get together. It's a really effective thing. If you haven't been on meetup.com, you can find your quilting group and your fly fishing group and your whatever you want. So we do have a meetup group for that purpose, community, getting together, having a cup of coffee, talking, which is great. What ends up happening, is that, how do I get that?
Right click.
Got that. What ends up happening is you get people who don't agree on anything. They're Gnostics, Freethinkers, Nihilists, Skeptics, the Mythicists, right? Humanists, Rationalists, Gnostics. So you end up having a philosophy discussion, which is great, but which I did a lot in college. It's satisfying on its level, but it really doesn't get anything done. In fact, it ends up pointing out the differences between people. So my idea was, instead of focusing on the meetup groups and the sense of community, let's focus on a trinity again, a triad, a triumvirate of works. All right, these are actions, activities. Volunteering and charity, right? Number 1, we talked about before. There's no real group for atheists to get together. Just give back. Start their own soup kitchen. Raise money for a new microscope for the science department. Put on a lecture for kids about science, because I'm telling you, they're not teaching your kids science in school anymore. Even if they're not teaching them creationism, they're not teaching them science the way they used to. And it sickens me personally. It's the science education thing, right? Those two go together in the way that I just explained them. But the second of our efforts is going to be science education and awareness, just putting out the word on events, Camp Quest, places like that, and raising money for the local schools. That and being a watchdog group for separation of church and state. I already alluded to the music class crap in the grade school. We've also taken on the fight at Timberley Camp, which I'll talk about. But when you do all these 3 things, the sense of community comes with it, right? I can promise you that after the Swift Road cleanup, we all couldn't wait to go out for a beer. We talked for 2 hours on the road while we walked together, and then we all went out for a beer afterwards. So there's your meetup with the activity. One of the activities are going to, these kind of involvements are going to lead you to a sense of community, because you're doing stuff together instead of just getting together and sitting around, which is great sometimes. But we have a highway cleanup. Like I said before, we've done more things than we have members. Kevin and I are doing what we can, and we have a few members, and the meetup group is growing slowly, little by little. I encourage you all to please get on our website, join the meetup. Even if you don't come, we can boost the numbers, and other people will see us. We have a highway cleanup. The first one is going to be on June 8th. We have a great spot in front of Apple Holler. If anybody knows, Apple Holler has 1,000 cars in front of it in the fall. It's a great place for bring kids, bring the family, but great exposure for the Freethinker community in the Kenosha Racine area. People are going to see the sign and see us out there doing good works. Jeffrey Elementary is sending its kids to Timberley. KRAFt members, along with SWIFT members and MM members, have already gone to Camp Timberley to begin an investigation on this disgusting violation of church and state. The parents pay, the schools are not actually really funding it, but they're sponsoring of the ability. These kids, what they do is they go for an overnight trip and they learn science, which is not science, it's creationism. They surreptitiously teach you that. Even if they don't, the kids who go there are going to get exposed to it. It's not acceptable. The KUSD is surreptitiously supporting a creationist agenda, and it's not going to happen. and that goes right along with science education and philosophical awareness. The mythicists feel strongly too that kids should learn different philosophies when they're young. Some people believe this, some people are Muslims, some people are Christians. So choose for yourself. I personally am tired of parents indoctrinating their children. This is not a fight I'm going to win. It's America. You can raise your children the way you want. I'm not going to be able to change people's minds on that, but it ruins people. It didn't ruin me. I have a strong mind. It didn't ruin my friend Vada. She's got a strong mind. But it ruins people. It makes people unable to function in society because they're so guilty that someone's watching, or that their mom doesn't approve of what they're doing, or that they're going to go to hell if they feel a certain way. That's all I have to say. KRAFt is brand new. Please support us. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We have a meetup group. We'd love to see names on there, even if we know that time is limited. Not everybody can join every little thing, but like I say, adding to the numbers on the Facebook and on the Twitter and on the meetup will raise our profile even if you don't come, and then other people will be more likely to join. So see us afterwards. We've got some cards. I'm going to let it go to the next speaker now. Questions? Yes, very quickly. Go.
Rob, have you getting any hostility from anybody in the community about the science stuff? I don't know if we have any.
The roadside?
The roadside.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. No, it's only been a few weeks. And ours doesn't say atheist like
Right, so
Milwaukee
you're not
does.
gonna get too much.
Yeah, and so people are probably like,
They don't even know.
What the hell's that?
Well, I've noticed that sometime in the southern region of the country that where you may see something like that, where people will pull out their guns.
Right, and shoot holes in it. Yeah. Who knows? It remains to be seen. I hope they do. Any publicity is good publicity. Really. If I get the news cruiser out there,
Right,
someone shot up our sign, that's publicity for us.
Especially from Apple Holler.
Right? That's huge
That
down
would be
there.
crazy.
What
It's
is
huge.
Timberlee? I've never heard of that before.
Timberlee is a Christian camp where it's an awesome facility where kids go, and if your parents are creationists, they can send you there all summer, and it's a normal kids camp otherwise, but they also have religious classes where they have a science department where they show you like the 7 days of creation on day one. It's absolutely distressing. It's really.
I read
it's
an
a powerful
article.
program. They have a huge
I read an article from one of the founders
It's in
of,
Wisconsin?
from one of the founders that said, teach them young. Therefore, when they get to later school and high school and they start learning about evolution,
They'll say
they
that's
think
silly.
it's nuts.
Yeah, they'll say that sounds silly. I mean, they basically tell you they're going to indoctrinate people.
Yes.
And this is not opinion. I'm sorry to say that. You can be an adult creationist if you want. It's not opinion. Creationism has been proven to be false. So we're teaching our kids that anywhere, we are doing society a disservice. We don't let them learn math that doesn't add up. We don't let them read a language that no one knows, that doesn't exist. Why not let them speak in tongues in school if we're going to teach them creationism? That's crap.
And the
Don't
one
give
thing
anyone
that,
any ideas, okay?
Yeah.
and the one thing that we argue is that if you're going to teach creationism out of the Old Testament, why not out of the Sumerian text? Why
Teach
not
it all.
out of the Egyptian text? Why not out of the Quran?
Teach it all.
And just kind of give the kids that whole.
Well, that's what they should be doing in schools, is giving them a full background of all different religions.
Right.
We actually did that in the Unitarian Church. We actually went and visited a whole bunch of different, Catholic, Baha'i, etc.
Right.
The Jeffrey School, is that a public school?
Yes.
And Timberlee program is something sponsored by a church.
Well, it's not a church, but it's its own organization.
But it's
Private.
Run by, it's
run by-
run by the school system?
No, it's a private camp, run by creationists, for creationists. There's people on the school board in Kenosha who are involved in it.
And they promote this?
FFRF has already written a letter to set, because it's several school districts, not just Kenosha. Some of the school districts listen to the Waukesha thing and getting backed out of it. But Kenosha, with its 1 million people, or its 100,000 people, are still involved in it. And that's going to be a big one for KRAFt going forward, is getting that out. I'm going to move it on. You got one more
I've
quick
actually
one?
been to Timberlee.
Have you been there?
Yeah, it was, long time ago, back when I was a church member.
Yeah.
But,
It's a beautiful
creationist-
facility. They have thousands of acres.
But it was pretty much more like a, a back to nature type of thing. The creationist angle is more the recent development, that's
Yeah,
kind of
I believe that.
the resurgence of creationism
Right,
that happened
the fundamentalism,
in the, late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, after Reagan. All right, thank you. Next up is Amy from Secular Coalition of America of Wisconsin. Secular Coalition of Wisconsin. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Amy. I'm with the Secular
Coalition for Wisconsin. You have to bear with me, Alex was supposed to do this presentation and she got sick, so I have no idea what I'm doing. So the Secular Coalition for America has been around for a long time. That's our umbrella national organization. We just started the Wisconsin chapter in this last year. So we're looking to get people involved. We're going to be doing lobbying for the separation of church and state here in Wisconsin. And we just thought it was a good idea to get on the local level where it's most effective. So the mission is to increase the visibility for non-theistic viewpoints in Wisconsin. I'm just going to read this. You can read along with me. The secular characteristic of our government is best guarantee of freedom for all. Purpose is to advocate on behalf of non-theistic and secular Americans. And the Secular Coalition was founded in 2002. That's the national organization. And these are just some of the groups that we're kind of an umbrella organization. All these groups work with us. And here's just a list of some of the groups that endorse us and our mission. So we're building a coalition by adding allied organizations, and we're working not just with atheist groups, but also we've been working with women's groups, like on the abortion issue, or groups that are fighting voucher schools. So it's not just atheist groups, although that's mostly, but we're trying to get a broad coalition of people that support our views in these areas. Okay, so there's just a few more coalition groups. I haven't seen this presentation before, so I have no idea what's on here. So these are the areas we're into. One of the big things that we really want to get involved is in the voucher school thing. I noticed that there's something going on in Milwaukee where they're giving one of these charter schools, public school space to do, and it turns out to be for a religious school.
They do that in New York, that's where they got the model from.
So those are the kind of things we want to get involved with. So medical professionals denying care based on personal beliefs, such as abortion. Healthcare coverage. We all know about the cases before the Supreme Court that they're going to decide, where their employers can decide what kind of medical coverage you get based on their religious beliefs instead of yours. Child abuse and neglect, and I think there was just a case in Wisconsin about someone not getting their child medical treatment because they believed in prayer and the child died. AA, which is supposedly religious, healthcare policy, education, public funding of religious schools with vouchers, discriminating against non-theistic students, and religious influence on public school curriculum. You guys talked before about like saying the Pledge of Allegiance and having to say under God in it. Religious coercion of public school students. I don't know if anybody heard about that, what's that organization called? The one that goes and they set up little groups within the schools.
ROTCA?
No, it's in the elementary schools.
The Good News Club?
Good News Club. And they're going in and having kids join that.
Oh my God. What is it?
It's a religious club, but they act like they're just a club like any other club in the school. And then of course, if you're not joining, you're feeling left out. And military chaplains, there was just a decision that ruled against, they didn't vote for the law that would have given non-theistic military chaplains permission to be part of it. We're still working on that. Military promotion of religion. I can say I was just at a couple of military events and there's religion all over every single event I went to. Tax-free housing for clergy.
Oh yeah. Here's your 3,000 square foot home.
Yeah. Faith-based nonprofits exempt from nonprofit requirements. Like the rest of us, if we're in a nonprofit group, have to file certain forms where if you're a religious nonprofit, you don't have to disclose these things.
I'm the product of tax-free housing for clergy because even part of my father's retirement is because he worked for a Lutheran school and he gets a housing allowance that he gets to deduct from his income taxes every year, on top of his housing tax credit. Like, there you go.
Discrimination, religiously motivated employment discrimination, housing discrimination. Ceremonies and symbols endorsing religion, we talked about that. Government officials, I was just at Scott Walker's speech where he sprinkled religion through the entire speech.
He's such a scumbag.
He is.
I'm sorry. Shut up. He's such a scumbag.
So, some of the most egregious violations are occurring at the state level, as we know, especially if you have a right-wing, very Christian governor like we have in this state, and a very right-wing legislature as well. They're going to pass laws. So what we're trying to do is bring groups together to do some lobbying of our state legislators in order to stop some of this stuff before it happens. I know we have the minority right now, but if we go out and make our views known, it's really going to help.
Our numbers.
We have a bunch of coalition groups right now, but we don't have a lot of people involved helping us, and the people we do have are all in Madison, so we'd like to spread out and get some people in other parts of the state involved. And we have state calls. The next one's June 6th. And you can look, we have a Facebook page and we have a website. If you want any more information, I also have information and sign-up sheets over on the table. Please sign up and get involved and help us out. So that's our website, and we are also on Facebook.
Question.
Can you take a question?
Sure.
So I just wanted to ask a pointed, clear question. Your group is the lobbying arm of the atheist community, correct?
Yes, we do.
So you're the one that is actually handling all the issues that are going on with government in Washington. Like, we have a lobbyist on K Street and everything. And what's that person's name?
I don't know that we have one particular person doing it. We are having a national lobbying day. She didn't put that on here, the information, but I can get it for you. They're having it, it's coming up in June in Washington, D.C., and they're going to go lobby the national.
So you are absolutely a political group on our behalf.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Cool. You do good work.
You might be interested, the group might be interested to know that the Secular Coalition, among with all the others, have started a Freethought attack, which is going to be helping fund non-theistic legislatures, both in D.C. and elsewhere.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Next up is Sean Fracek and Fritz Blandon from Mythicist, Milwaukee. And they're going to have an interesting presentation because they're used to doing this, man. You're all going to learn something, man.
No pressure.
No platitudes here, just education. Take it away when you're ready, guys.
Sorry, guys. There you go.
5 minutes.
Thank you very much. We're pleased to have everybody here. My name is Fritz Blandon. This is Sean Fracek. Maybe you want to come.
Yeah, I'll come in.
So we are Mythicist Milwaukee. Our mission and vision. Our mission is to provide an outlet for those who wish to learn and share knowledge and create awareness of the Mythicist position through evidence-based arguments. Our vision is to have supernatural characters and events be viewed as mythology and to see an end of the use of religion for social control. No matter your faith or dogma, we hope to openly share information with one another and enlighten ourselves with the historical facts presented to us.
And I apologize ahead of time. The first couple slides are going to be us reading just because mythicism is really kind of a new word to a lot of people, so we really don't, hear that every day. So we'll just go to define it. So mythicism is not a religion. When you hear that term, it's not a religion. It's a study. We consider ourselves researchers. It's a study of ancient astrotheology and mythology in comparison to modern-day religious supernatural beliefs. Mythicism represents that the perspective that many gods, goddesses, and other heroes are legendary figures said to possess extraordinary and supernatural attributes and are not real people, but in fact mythological characters that personify or symbolize natural phenomena such as the sun, moon, stars, planets, constellations, etc. And that thought is what we consider astrotheology or astrology, ancient astrology. So some major examples of the mythicist position can be seen within many modern-day religious characters, such as those within the Abrahamic religions, which we are exposed to every day, which include Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Those make up the Abrahamic religions. Some of the supernatural characters in question are Adam and Eve, Satan, Noah, Abraham, Moses, Muhammad, the angel Gabriel, and Jesus Christ, of course, among many other entities throughout history.
He's all white.
In reality, we feel these characters represent mythological figures along the same lines as the Egyptian, Sumerian, Phoenician, Indian, Greek, Roman, and other gods, who are all presently accepted as myths rather than historical figures. When you see the Hercules movie come out, we do not think that that actually happened, so that's not history.
One of the founders of the United States, Thomas Paine, has a great quote that we'd like to highlight from time to time. He states, "The Christian religion is a parody of the worship of the sun, in which they put a man called Christ in the place of the sun, and they pay him adoration originally paid to the sun." In our viewpoint, Jesus Christ is a mythical sun god in a long line of other mythological sun gods that came before him.
So what do we do as a group? Well, one of the centerpieces that we focus on is the creation of condensed, simplified picture posts for the layperson that highlight many similarities between the ancient mythology and modern-day religious supernatural beliefs, also known as comparative religious studies. And one of the reasons why we do this is because some of this information can be like way over people's heads as far as when you go back into antiquity and you start reading the different parallels that exist. We like to bring it down and simplify it and make it easily readable and shareable.
So this is an example of a post that we created. We like to look at the Hermetic text as well. This is an example of Hermes. This is a post that we've put on our Facebook. Hermes, along with Jesus, was called the Good Shepherd, and obviously he predates Jesus Christ. In both tales, the crib of the newborn God is changed from an object with a different purpose. For example, Jesus was born in a manger. Obviously, a manger is a feeder used to hold food for animals. Meanwhile, Hermes was in a winnowing basket, and a winnowing basket separates grain from chaff. In both stories, a sign or an omen backs up the pronouncement. A winged creature identifies a newborn child. Hermes is a bird, with Jesus as an angel. There's a sacrifice of two living creatures. Distinguished visitors come with gifts, and there's more on this page as well. This post that we have here highlights the birth sequence of Jesus Christ. The birth sequence is completely astrological. Here we see a similarity between Jesus' birth sequence and that seen in ancient Egyptians. The three stars in Orion's belt were called the three kings in ancient Egyptian history. And they follow the star in the east, which is Sirius, which is the brightest star in the night sky. And they all point to the east, which is the place of the sunrise during the winter solstice. Here's a post that we have with Islam. One piece for this, for example, is that there's 60 years that go by before the supposed death of Muhammad, before anybody even mentions Muhammad. Muhammad actually means the praised one. It was a title, it wasn't a name. And Muhammad, the title, was also applied to Jesus and other people. This is an example of a deluge or flood myth that we've encountered, the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is a Sumerian story, obviously predates the Old Testament. In this story, for example, there's a great flood, there's an angry god, a bird signifies the end of the flood, there's the eradication of humans, along many other similarities as well.
And this one we put together, again, simplifying a lot of parallels we see, but this is Mithras, who is he's actually a pre-Christian sun god that shares many parallels with Jesus. Mithras actually originates in Persia, and this is another perfect example how this god-man makes his way across the world and actually ends up in Rome. This is the Roman adaptation. For those that know your history, Mithraism was a very big religion in ancient Roman times that it was actually an elite religion, and you kind of see how Constantine and the powers that be merged Jesus and Mithras
Question,
together.
is it a warrior's religion? Or is that just...
It was mainly an elite military religion. It was a secret society. However, we have found many temples, given to Mithra. We found different writings on the walls that showcase their religion.
The Vatican, for example, is built directly on an ancient Mithric temple.
Right.
That's
That's a great point. A lot of people don't know that. So this is one of the early church fathers, Justin Martyr. In this quote, we're pointing out how he's pleading to the Romans to accept Jesus' virgin birth and resurrection as they would accept their own mythological gods and goddesses, or the sons of Jupiter. This is a quote from an author that we work with, that she points out here that there are no primary sources, that Jesus Christ actually existed. And she goes on to point out that the only evidence we have is secondary and tertiary.
We're actually cited in her new book, Did Moses Exist?, that we have on our table as well, which was a big accomplishment for ourselves.
I have a Catholic guy tell me that the Vatican actually found Jesus' death warrant. Is that Catholic BS?
Well, that's interesting because there is no documentation from the Romans that Jesus even was born, and the Romans
even during
yes.
the
records.
Right. They were
the census.
Yeah.
It was a
Even during the census.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And they were huge documentarians.
Yes.
So. This is a post we put together, again simplified, but what we're showcasing here is the ancient Arabian worship at Mecca, and currently in Islam, Muslims pray at Mecca. This is kind of part of their voyage. They actually get a title when they make it to Mecca, and they go and touch and kiss the stone. You see how this existed in the ancient world, and how it just they translated it to modern day Islam and say, okay, no, we're just changing the god. You see the goddess Al-Ilat was the pagan Arabian goddess, and then the modern day god is Allah. Interestingly enough, there were many gods named Allah, or had some variation of Allah, Al-Ilat, in their name in ancient Arabian mythology. So, what have we done so far as a group? So, in April 2013, we traveled to Egypt with the goal of visiting ancient Egyptian ruins in order to gain further insights into the parallels of the ancient Egyptian religions and current modern-day religious beliefs.
In October of 2013, we had the privilege to spearhead a petition that helped support Dean Murdoch's reinstatement onto Facebook after being kicked off by Facebook for attempting to expose religious sexual abuse of children.
In November 2013, we brought in a speaker, our friend Miguel Connor, who presented on Gnosticism and early Christianity. There's a lot of important information in those two. Miguel is a leading religious scholar and author that hosts a weekly podcast out of Chicago, so make sure to check that out.
What's the podcast called? God Upon God?
It's the
Aeon Bite.
Yeah, Aeon Bite Gnostic Radio. That's his podcast. And he has interviewed hundreds and hundreds of religious scholars with varying viewpoints. And we want to give a shout out to Swift for helping us bring him here. That was a great event.
Yeah, so that was our first collaboration. This is our second large collaboration. In 2013, we also went to Nicaragua. This was to document the current and traditional celebration of Christmas within the local community in Central America as well.
In April of 2014, earlier this year, we premiered our documentary that we filmed, edited, and produced on the current practice of the Muslim call of prayer in Hamtramck, Michigan. This is very controversial because this is one of the only cities that allows this practice. And for those that know, the Muslim call of prayer says very specific things about their faith. Allah's the greatest, Muhammad's the only messenger, so on and so forth. So that's very interesting for us.
We've recently been contacted by Rust Magazine. That's a new startup magazine that highlights local, they focus on the local community here in Milwaukee. So we're excited to have been interviewed by Rust on our documentary, and their publication, their first edition, will be coming out shortly. Yep.
And Alan Eisenberg. We've had the opportunity to share our work on the Alan Eisenberg Show, which airs on an ABC affiliate known as 1400 WRGN. Alan's actually in the audience today. We're very thankful that he came. We've also been on Alan's... Still doing it. We've also been on Alan's River West podcast, which airs every Saturday night, so those in the area, check that out. His interviews are very informative and interesting, so our interviews with Alan can be heard or downloaded on the internet.
We're also very active on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook is where we first began our group, sharing the information that we were finding. We also have a meetup. On the meetup is where we announce events. We also have a webpage.
And we are happy to spearhead this idea of a coalition of the Freethought community in Milwaukee, which became known as FAM, or Freethought Alliance of Milwaukee. With the support and efforts from the leadership of Swift and KRAFt, this event became possible today. So really thank you to everyone that helped us. And we hope that more Freethought organizations and freethinkers alike join the FAM for future events.
And how can you help? Well, we're looking for driven people that want to join the Mythicist Milwaukee team. We can use help in areas that we highlight here. We feel the information that we research can be a turning point for the Freethought initiative. We also feel that we need to help get this information out there because in too many cases, these parallels are not well known. Again, thank you for coming. We hope you enjoyed our presentation, and hopefully you took something away from it.
Quick questions, Gerard?
Yeah, Fritz, I was just wondering, you said you tried to Nicaragua.
Yeah.
What is the position of the Daniel Ortega government as it relates to religion?
Well, as it relates to religion, if I can go back here, I'll show you. This is actually a billboard. The billboard states here, these are the foundations for the country right now. Christian, socialist, and solidarity. So that's the platform that the government is promoting all throughout the country. So,
now, are they still Sandinista or no?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Any other questions?
How do you spell Mythicist? I'm trying to look you guys up on Facebook.
Sure. The way we remember it, M-Y-T-H, Mythicist, I-C-I-S-T. Or M-M. I know Mythicist Milwaukee is kind of a hard thing to say sometimes. Call us M-M. That works out too. We do have a picture book on our table and some other information on our table. We have a lot of the research that we put together in kind of a picture book, so if you guys want to check that out. Yes, sir.
Do you have like a paragraph short statement of where the hell you guys came from? You're bizarre.
Yeah, well.
I love it.
Yeah.
We're from, we live here in Milwaukee. And,
but you know more about, it's a very academic approach you take, which suggests that you're...
Well, Fritz is kind of an academic.
Yeah.
a little bit.
What are you?
I guess our take on it was, we used a lot of the rational thinking, the common sense, the logical thinking to say that this couldn't be possible. How did Jesus do this? How did Moses do this? Is Noah really real? Why do people believe this? And it wasn't until we came across this type of information that we said, this is it. We no longer need to just use our logical thinking and scientific-based arguments. Now we have the origins of where they come from, adorations of the stars and the sun and the moon. And now there's no longer, this is just what I believe because I feel it in my gut. It's now, here it is. You have this story, here it is prior to this supposed birth.
Mm-hmm. And the one thing
most people don't know about all that.
Right, and that's
what we're looking for.
Right, and that's one of the things I look at modern entertainment. when you see movies, you X-Men 1, X-Men 2, X-Men 3, RoboCop 1, 2. It's the same essential story,
Oh, yeah.
but as times change, they update it, they change it, and they just put their own spin on it. That's how I see religion.
So is this a national organization, or are you guys starting
It's
the
just
business?
us.
Local.
Wow,
Just
that's
us
cool.
two. Now, we do have support as well from Kristen Whitaker Hood. She lives in Maryland, and she has been crucial in promoting this type of information on our Facebook page. Now, she's not local, and you know, despite that, you can see some of her posts that she's put up today. So she's very active on our Facebook page. So
we
again,
appreciate her.
yeah, Kristen Whitaker Hood
Do you have-
is a part of our group as well.
Do you have a webpage outside of Facebook, or just?
We
on
do have a web page, but we primarily share our research on Facebook, but we do have mythicistmilwaukee.com that has some archived information as well.
One more, Sarah's got something. Sarah?
No, yes, sir.
Oh, she
I was
already
gonna
has.
say, as an educator, where do you see mythicism being in the public school curriculum? Would it be under philosophy, or say religion, or some sort of
Literature.
history of religion?
Well, here's how I see it. If you've noticed some of the topics that are real touchy, for example, creationism versus evolution, and go back to Egyptian history classes, right? You learn about the Nile River and the flooding and papyrus and pharaohs and the pyramids. But in the public school system, they don't really talk about how the people lived. How did they really interact and with each other and share information with each other? What did they actually believe as a society? If we actually started talking about that huge piece of their civilization, you're going to see these parallels coming up. And I think that that's one of the reasons why that's kind of blocked off from the education system. And again, that's why things like creationism, is a hot button issue for some people.
They don't want you to question.
Yeah.
So I mean,
What
yeah.
came first, the culture or the religion?
Mhm.
What, I mean, that's essentially the question.
Yeah.
What came first, the culture
Well,
or
in
the
ancient
religion?
Egypt, it was the same thing.
Right.
It was like, yeah, there was a word for religion back then.
Yeah, and one thing I'll add, one of the reasons why there's so many different cultures that have such similar stories is because, the sun has the same movements in the sky. The stars are all, moving at the same time in the sky as seen from the northern hemisphere. So you're going to see a lot of similarities within the stories. During the winter solstice, for example, from the 22nd to the 25th of December, the sun reaches its lowest point in the night sky. And a lot of people don't realize this. To the ancients, the sun kept moving down through the sky, so the days get shorter. Well, on the 22nd of December, typically, sometimes the 21st of December, but the majority of the time, 22nd, the sun goes to its lowest point in the night sky. And for 3 days, the sun doesn't move any further.
3 days of sunrise.
Yeah, it doesn't move any lower in the night sky. Or higher. It seems to
appears to
stay
die
there. And they were great at math, these ancient civilizations. It's almost offensive to say, oh, how the pyramids were built, they were built by aliens. That's an offensive statement to make for these great cultures. Now, they realized that the sun stopped moving for 3 days. Now, this sun that brings light and warmth and salvation for the crops and life, to them, the sun dies for 3 days. And on September 25th, the sun rises 1 degree north, thus bringing salvation. The sun, the days get longer. So to the ancients, the sun is what dies for 3 days. And the crucifixion then
And
comes
no
along.
guarantee for them that it's going to come back.
Light over.
Right?
Yeah.
We better make God happy, or maybe he just won't.
And that's why solar eclipses were such a phenomenon to the ancients. The sun's gone. The sun was everything to the ancients, but they were also very intelligent.
Let's move it along. We got
Thank
one more
you.
to stick a little bit longer. Last but not least, the heavy hitter of the group, Swift, new co-director. Karl Foster is going to speak to us about Swift, Southeast Wisconsin Freethinkers.
Excuse us, we're experiencing technical difficulties.
Ooh.
Oh, Bucket Works is failing.
Modern technology.
See, I like my backdrop, but this is why I don't rely on it to actually get the presentation. So I'll tell you what, I can start my presentation while Sean is working on the thing, but I won't block it.
Okay.
Is it coming up?
Well, we can do it right.
Yeah. Well, the internet is,
I don't rely on PowerPoint.
it's not,
Okay.
not
Actual content does not depend.
the internet's not working, so.
The internet's not working. The box is down, right?
He broke it. The whole internet.
Exactly. It's all gone. Just, it's going to be crazy.
God's telling us we're displeased.
Yeah.
God's trying to prevent our dissemination of information, right? So, as the plug stated, I stand for SWIFT. I'm a co-director, recently elected, so not the long term. But I should point out that we were also graced by the other co-director, Vada, who's back here. She helped organize all of this. So thank you, Vada.
Thank you.
So, to begin with, I'm going to read our operating principles and objectives. Always proceed democratically, ethically, and honestly. Promote and exemplify the fact that freethinkers are reasonable, thoughtful, civil, and caring people. Increase awareness of the free thought position. Promote the idea that free thought worldview of trying to understand nature through rational scientific inquiry is the most satisfying and rewarding way to appreciate existence. To encourage objective and dogma-free education. To do good works on behalf of free thought. Create opportunities for free thinkers to meet formally and informally for an open exchange of ideas and for mutual support. To provide venues for free thinkers and their families to get together in social settings, to establish a presence at community events, establish a systematic method of responding to local attacks on free thought or free inquiry, to lobby for the inclusion of free thought points of view in local government policy and decision making, to take a strong and consistent position against any unconstitutional mingling of government and religion and against the discrimination aimed at free thinkers, and to be willing to consider picketing or otherwise demonstrating on behalf of the free thought positions. These are current operating principles and objectives. This is what we stand for in the Milwaukee area. We're one of the largest free thought / atheist / agnostic, or however you want to categorize us, organizations in the area. For example, we presently have 438 people on Meetup and 285 likes on Facebook, for whatever those all count for. But our message gets heard, and that's what's interesting. Presently, we meet down in Cudahy, in the basement of a bank. Humble beginnings to our organization that have stuck with us. But we're growing, slowly, surely growing, and we're attracting new people. We're looking to become more central to the city, to move into an area where people in the city who don't have vehicles and whatnot can meet with us, engage with us, and at many of our events. We provide a forum for which we can discuss free thought. Right? Free thought, the unshackling of the mind, the reduction of dependence on ideas being told to us, rather than being understood ourselves and we come to our own beliefs. This is what we really, at our heart, want to do. Right? This is what our meetings are for, social events are for, to remove you from this culture where you just believe because that's what people believe. We want you to be able to come to your own conclusions for the right reasons, through proper inquiry, rational decision making. To do that, we bring in all kinds of speakers, as well as having just general discussions. For example, recently we had a philosopher from University of Wisconsin-Madison come and give a presentation on ethics, and also to challenge our beliefs on what's morally right and wrong. We're talking with physicists at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, give presentations on cosmology and other results of scientific inquiry. And physical world. We're trying to learn about our world so that we can come to our own beliefs, free thought. We're trying to understand the concepts and positions of philosophy and the larger pictures, right? Because that's the venue that religion occupies. And so we reach out to the community, have people help us to learn that, and we also share amongst ourselves. We have social events all the time, both for the enjoyment of other people's company, but also for just the frank exchange of ideas. And I can tell you that they can be very frank, but we enjoy them nonetheless.
Or maybe because.
Or maybe because, that's right. So we also, though we have this free thought goal as a core, like I said, we have social events. We try to provide a community for the network for this exchange of ideas, where people can come with families, people can come with friends and relatives and not be judged, right? That's the judge, somebody would probably be against free thought. So we wanted to make it available and open to people to come and just share their life experience with us and to just be at ease, to enjoy what we can offer. For example, on June 21st, we have a social event coming up to ironically celebrate the solstice, but also just to get together with friends on a fine Wisconsin lake, not the big one, but one of the other nice ones, and drink, be merry as atheists rather than being told to be merry for this occasion by any dogmatic reason. Finally, also in the vein of free thought, we provide a venue for people who might feel ostracized by their community. We're very open to all ideas, particularly the ones who are atheistic. But we encourage everybody who feels that they're an outsider of their group to come and share their opinions with it. We want to be a refuge for those people who feel that they can't speak about atheism at their job for fear of firing, or at their family because of fear of being kicked out. We want to be Swift, hopefully is, and wants to be, a center for free thought in the Milwaukee area, to provide a community for people to participate in, as well as a venue for education on everything. And I literally mean everything. If you have any questions. Yes?
Yeah, Karl, for those of us who are non-believers, we face discrimination. There's just no question about it.
Of course.
Running for office, some states have it written in their state laws, etc., that you need to believe in God, etc. So as a civil rights issue
Yes.
for us, what do you see in terms of a direction locally that we can do here in Wisconsin?
Well, for starters, we just had the Secular Coalitions founded not too long ago. And they are a lobby group. That's their focus. So insofar as Swift can support their mission, this would be a great start. In addition, we actively encourage our members to participate in the political process, to write letters to legislators, council members, mayors, what have you, to try to change their ideas or to put pressure on them. Lastly, we have the FFRF in Madison, this strong resource, and I personally am both an attorney and a volunteer for the FFRF. And encourage people to go there for their problems who can actually help them strongly. Or you can, pay my legal fees and we'll see what I can do. But the idea is that we're a resource for the community. So people can come to us and we can help them find the best outlet for their civil rights problems. Yes?
Now, what type of lawyer are you?
I do bankruptcy mostly.
Bankruptcy lawyer.
So I'm the type of attorney that if you have to come to, it's not happy times, but I'm not sure if there's any attorney that you come to for happy times.
Along those lines?
I don't have any info tapes to give you, but yes, of that bankruptcy dinner.
But he'll actually return your call.
Yes, I return calls. I keep a good calendar. But yes. Any other questions about Swift?
I just want to add, on your behalf here, that a large number of people here, possibly the majority of people here, are Swift members. So again, you guys do represent an important piece in terms of the community, which is why we got interested as Mythicist Milwaukee into Swift, because we knew that there is a community of freethinkers, and again, we just wanted to be in collaboration with you. And what we will do as well is, because that website was not up while we take our break, which will be coming up pretty soon. Is that correct?
Yeah.
We'll have the Swift website up, so we'll be working with those technical difficulties.
I also have it pulled up on my little tablet over there at my stand, which I will be staffing for anybody who has any questions.
And it is really nice, especially if you come from a current religious background and you're like not religious. It is nice to sit in a room with other people who don't make you feel terrible for.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to complain about the religious sometimes, rather than having.
Not just complaining. It's not a complaining thing.
But also,
You can
trying to be
vocalize your
cathartic.
thoughts instead of.
Yes.
Yeah, can I say something?
Yes.
This isn't on the schedule, but I was afraid some of you might want to, if we're gonna break for a few minutes and get together and do a little bit of brainstorming, a little bit of, we're gonna want to get your feedback about some things you'd like to see happening and stuff like that. I was asked to read the FAM collective mission to increase the visibility and collaboration among Wisconsin area Freethought organizations in support of our individual and collective endeavors to make a positive change in our community. Now, one thing I wanted to mention, because I want to make sure I have you all here to hear this, Swift is going to be having a lot of events coming up in the future. We have sort of a short-term plan, which this was part of it, getting the local groups together, and there's like a year plan. We're going to have Shelley Segal. I don't know how many of you are familiar with her, but her music was playing over them. I know she has fans amongst us, playing over the speakers when you first came in. She's from Australia. She put out an album called the Atheist Album, and Swift contributed to a Kickstarter event for her, and part of the prize that we get for doing that is she's going to come and play a private party for us. So that's really exciting. Keep your eyes open for that coming down the pipeline. And then the really, really big news is that I've been talking with Amanda with American Atheists about possibly hosting either the American Atheists Convention or a Reason Rally here in Milwaukee. So this is really great news, and I've been working really hard to establish these relationships, and all of you are going to be an important part of that, because we're going to have people coming here from all over the country for that. So that's a big, big deal. So
you're going to need help.
We didn't really get to have that in the presentation or anything, but it is important that you guys all know that our profile is getting bigger and bigger all the time, and that each and every one of you are important. You're an important part of this community. You're an important person to help other people learn what a good atheist looks like, and you can all help us do good for the community by helping us with our highway cleanups. We donate to the Children's Hospital. At Halloween, I throw a huge Halloween party. We had 200 people last year, and we raised over 200 pounds of food for the Hunger Task Force. So Swift, we are swiftly moving into the future, and we're trying to do good things and all that. So I just didn't want that to go unheard before anybody left. So are we ready for our break?
No, that's it. 5-minute break. We'd love to see you speak with us at all the events.
Eat this food.
There's restrooms in the back.